On today's video, we are going to be making over 3 thrifted items and turning them into beautiful high-end garden planters. The first project is this galvanized flower pot that I thrifted about a year ago at a thrift store. I already made one of them over in one of my Halloween videos. We turned it into a candy type jar for Halloween, a large candy jar. But we're going to be using this mold on today's video. This is the Leonidas mold from the latest Iron Orchid Design release. And we're going to be placing this mold onto the flower pot. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to open up your mold and add some cornstarch. And that is going to help your clay release from the mold. I'm using clay on this particular mold for this particular project, but you could also use resin as well. So you're just going to pinch off your clay and then you're just going to press it into the mold, and then you can use your brayer right there to smooth it out and take off any excess clay. You just want to get your clay out of the package, warm it up in your hands, and then just begin the process of placing it into your mold. On this particular mold, it also has a few little extra details if you wanted to add those too. There's 2 other little molds right there that you can cast as well. This mold is approximately 5 by 7, but it is a great mold. I love this one. If you haven't picked this one up, you need to pick it up. And y'all stay tuned for the next projects. I think you're absolutely going to love this video. I had a lot of fun making over these projects, and I think you're going to be impressed with how they end up looking. So after you remove it from the mold, you're going to remove any excess clay that might be around the edges. Sometimes there's a little bit of excess clay, so it's really easy to remove. And then you're just going to add some glue, some Titebond quick and thick, and you're going to just feather it all around this piece. If you're wanting to make this same exact type flower pot using this lion mold or the Leonidas mold, you would need to use a good outdoor glue, number 1, and leave a comment if you know a good outdoor glue, because I really don't know one. I'm not familiar with any. And then you would also, I would recommend using a resin instead of this clay. But I'm probably going to use mine indoor, so it's not going to matter, or it would be under cover under a porch. So after you have applied the glue, you're going to attach it to your piece, and you need to make sure it's flat all around the edges. Just make sure that you don't press it too hard because you don't want to mess up the clay. Okay, so what we're going to do now, y'all don't get scared, but we're going to put a base coat of this beautiful red color from DIY Paint. It's called Marquee. It is a beautiful red. There's 2 different reds in the DIY Paint line, and this is the one that's a little bit darker. So you're just going to paint this entire piece with red. Now this is going to be the undercoat of this piece, and you're really not going to see this red afterwards because we're going to put a beautiful gold on top. But if you put a beautiful red like this underneath it, it's going to make that gold pop even more. So all I'm doing is just adding a layer of the red. DIY Paint is one of the paint lines that I carry. It is a clay-based paint. It can be water activated, so you do need to put on a sealer. Once you put on that sealer, it's going to darken the paint up a bit, and then it's going to seal the paint so water will no longer cause it to activate or come off of your piece. My name is Emily. I'm with J. Bowen & Company, and I am so glad that you decided to watch this video today. If this is your first time here, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back. I'm so glad that you are here and you've joined us. I'm now going over this entire piece with some liquid patina. This is one of DIY's top coats. Liquid patina will make your piece waterproof so you can use it outside. There is another sealer called Big Top, and it's another great top coat, but it does not make your piece waterproof. Liquid Patina is also a decoupage medium as well, so it has two different purposes. Now that the liquid patina has completely dried, we are going to take out the golden ticket. This is DIY's gold paint, metallic paint, and I think you're going to love how this turns out. The reason you want to put the red or a bright color, you could also use like a hot pink or a bright orange, anything like that. It's going to make your gold really pop. Back a long time ago when they were making gold frames, they almost always used a red or orange or bright pink, something like that. I don't know if they used bright pink because who knows if they even had it. But they did use something bright like a bright orange or a bright red underneath their gold frames. And it's going to make this gold really pop. Ended up applying about 2.5 coats of this golden ticket. If you're interested in purchasing any of these products or paints, IOD products, any of that stuff, you can find the link to my website in the description and also put one right there in the comments. I just reordered a bunch of new products and molds and transfers. So if you haven't been over to my website lately, you need to go check it out because there are a lot of new items. I actually originally sold out of the Leonidas mold, the Chanticlerer mold, that's the rooster molds, and some of the other transfers and things. But I restocked, so y'all go get them before they're all gone. I'm now using some black wax. This is the Fusion black wax, but I also just restocked on the black wax from DIY, as well as the dark wax, the clear wax, and the white wax are all back in stock. So if you're looking for any of the waxes, I have quite a few of them on my website now. And what I'm doing first here is I'm just going to apply some of this black wax to the piece, and then I'm going to wipe it off with a paper towel. This black wax, you can see how it's really bringing out the details of this mold, and y'all look at that. Isn't it gorgeous? I love this mold. When I first saw this mold, I thought it is amazing. I wasn't quite sure how it would go over, but y'all really are liking it. And now I'm just going to take the dark wax and I'm going to go all around the edges of the piece. And then I decided that I would add a little bit of this shipwreck. This is the turquoise color to my mold. This gives it a beautiful patina. However, it seemed to erase all of the black, so I thought I would go back with the black wax again and just go over it again so that we have some of the black wax on top and just a little bit less of the shipwrecked. And then I'm just going to go all around the edges, just kind of randomly though. I'm not putting it everywhere, so I want it to look more like a natural patina. Now, I could have easily painted the inside of this, but I'm going to have a big plant in there, so you won't be able to see it anyway. So I'm just going to leave that the galvanized look, and then I'll have a big plant, or at least that's my plan, kind of cascading over the top of it. I probably would not plant in this planter. I would put another flower pot in the planter. That way it doesn't, mess up the mold or cause any moisture to get in there or anything like that. Love how this turned out. If you like it, y'all hit that like button and consider subscribing to my channel for more thrift flips. Decided to throw in a quick little tray makeover. I purchased this cutting board tray for just a few dollars at a thrift store. It was solid wood, but someone had put this, I guess the manufacturer had put this naughty and nice gold paint on it. So on a live before, I painted it with Fusion's park bench. This is a gorgeous green color. And then I decided that I would take out the brocante transfer set and I would add this gorgeous white transfer set or transfer onto the piece. It's a beautiful white bouquet. If you've never used a transfer, they're very easy to use. You're just going to remove that white backing, and then you're just going to press it down. It's going to be kind of sticky on the back side, and then you're just going to take that stick that you're going to see me use here in a second. It comes with every one of the transfer sets, and you're just going to rub it and then pull it, and the transfer will eventually adhere. It's very easy. If it doesn't adhere, just lay the plastic back down and rub it again until it comes off. If you haven't picked up the Brocont transfer set, that's one of the new ones, and it's back in stock on my website. I have sold quite a few of these, but I still have some left. I know y'all love this one. This is one of the classic sets. And then all I'm going to do after this is I'm just going to apply some wax. I may go back and do something extra with this tray. I've spoken with some of you about this on a live, and I thought about adding some kind of script like the kindest regards stamp or something like that around the edges. I thought that would look really good, but I had completely forgotten when I was asking you guys about that I had already applied wax to it. So I would have to remove the wax in order for me to put an ink or something on there. Otherwise, I'm afraid it might come off. But I'm just applying some clear wax on top of this, and that's just to seal in the transfer. Fusion Mineral Paint already has a built-in primer and built-in top coat, so it doesn't need to be sealed, but the transfer needs to be sealed. But this was a very fast and easy makeover, and I think it's just classic, and it's just beautiful. So I thought I would just throw in this little bonus footage for you, and that's all we did. And y'all let me know what you think about this tray makeover. The next project is this metal planter that I thrifted. We're going to add some of the Chanticlerer molds on there, or casting of the molds, and we're just going to make them out of a little bit of the resin. So what you're going to do is you put equal parts of A and equal parts of B, you mix it up, you pour it into your mold. Originally, I had made some out of clay. That's why you see a little bit of clay residue on there. I actually put them on some canisters on the live. If you didn't catch that one, you should go over there and check that one out. I had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun that night making over some canisters and also a shelf with the new Alchemy paint line. But all we're doing here is pouring some casting resin. This is the 24-hour kind, so it takes overnight for it to dry. After you pour it in, you just need to, first of all, you need to follow the directions, wear some gloves, wear a protective mask, and you're just going to mix it up per the directions, pour it in, and then let it cure overnight. And here I am adding some glue to the back, some Tite Bond Quick and Thick, and then I'm just adding it here, pressing it down, and I'm going to add a little bit of packing tape just to hold it in place, because these were a little bit, the planter was a little bit slanted, and I was afraid that they were going to slide off. So then I'm doing it to the second one. And then I thought that it would be good to get a clamp and to clamp these down. Y'all, this planner gave me the hardest time. First of all, it had a sticker type wrap around it. I thought it was actually painted, but it turned out to be a sticker. I put it in some water to clean it, and then the paper started coming off, and that started a nightmare. I had to run this thing through the dishwasher twice. I used Gooby Gone, Barkeeper's Friend. I scrubbed it with a metal, what do you call that? Like a stainless steel metal thing. I mean, I could not get all that sticky residue off. It was crazy. And then I glued these on, and then, I let them sit for a while. I thought they were good. And then I thought I would go ahead and paint it with a dark base color, and I'm going to use the color Ash. You could use any black color that you want. Here I'm just cleaning up some of that glue so it wouldn't be just everywhere on this piece. But I thought it was glued enough, so I decided to go ahead and take this Fusion Mineral Paint in the color Ash, coat the whole thing with this, and then I set it aside. And guess what? If those roosters didn't slide, They ended up sliding several times. Only that one on the right. The one on the left behaved. The one on the right kept sliding. And so I ended up, after I painted this, I ended up clamping it, and then I let it sit overnight, dry completely overnight, and now it's okay. But y'all, it really gave me a run for the money. This entire, you wouldn't think something like this would have been that hard, but it was. It ended up being a mess, but I was determined to make it over. And originally I thought I was going to do it in a neutral color. I thought like some kind of white or stone look would look really pretty, but y'all, look how it looks black. These roosters are gorgeous in black. But I wanted to use some copper. You know, when I think of roosters, for some reason, I think of copper roosters, and I thought this would be really pretty. So this is basically the Golden Tickets, or DIY's Golden Tickets sister or brother, or whatever you want to say, companion, friend, mate. But it's the Pennies from Heaven. It's called Pennies from Heaven. It's the copper metallic color. So I'm going to just end up applying this metallic copper color to this entire piece, and we're going to make this planner look copper. And y'all, it ends up turning out looking really good. I think you're going to love it. And y'all, don't forget to stick around to the next project, because that one may be my favorite one. I'm covering these roosters with shipwrecked. It's going to give it an awesome patina. You just pack it on, make sure you get it in all those little crevices, and then you wipe it away. I'm going to add a little bit around the rim, the edges, the inside, and a little bit of black wax. I love how this copper planner turned out. I think it looks really good. Just remember, you can do this same technique on just about anything. And y'all also consider subscribing to my free Facebook group. It's J. Bowen and Company Creative Group. You can meet new friends there, share your projects, get new ideas, get new ideas, and have a lot of fun. Totally free, and the link will be in the description of this video. The next project is this hanging wall pocket. That's what people say on YouTube. They call it that. I don't know. It's just kind of like a hanging metal basket you can put flowers in. I had painted it this green color a while back, and it just wasn't a good paint job. I don't even think I sealed it. I think I painted it with a chalk paint before I really knew you had to seal chalk paints. But this is the Persephone mold. I poured some resin into this mold, and now here it is. It's the next day, so we're taking it out, and y'all, look at that gorgeous casting. Y'all, this is one of my favorite molds ever. I actually have only used it one time on a giant mirror, and I never even painted it. Now I'm inspired to paint it after I have finish this project. I think I know exactly what I'm going to do with it, and I have a perfect place for it. But anyway, back to this project. I just poured a whole lot of glue on here, and now I'm just going to spread it around, and then I'm going to attach it to this piece. There was a little bit of raised area, so I'm going to cover that up with this Persephone casting, and then I'm going to clamp it down so it will stick. No, actually, I think I put some paint on it because this is level. I just put a jar of paint on there so it would just press down and stick to the piece. I'm going to paint this a neutral color and make it look like stone. So I'm taking out some fresco, and that is Fusion's texturing product. It's going to make the paint have a texture, but first I'm going to take out my raw silk by Fusion, and I'm just going to paint the mold first without any of that texture additive in the paint. So I didn't want the texture to be all over the face initially because I didn't want it to mess up the casting. So all we're doing here is we're just pouring some of that paint into the texture, the fresco, and I'm just going to mix it up a little bit. And now we're going to have a nice texture to use on this piece. And also it helps fill in some of the openings. Sometimes there's a little bit of space between your mold and your piece. And if you have a little bit of texture when you're using a mold, it will fill in that space in between. So you just have to mix it up really good. The first coat, I'm just going to paint it on. And then after I paint it on, I'm just going to take a paintbrush and I'm going to stipple it. Y'all look how pretty that Persephone casting looks after you put the paint on it. I think it looks so pretty, and I think this is going to end up looking like a gorgeous piece. I like to paint planters like this or wall pockets like this in neutral colors because it really makes the piece pop. I thought the green would be really pretty as a planter like this, but it ended up competing a little bit with the plants when I put them in there, the flowers or the floral arrangement. So anyway, I'm now just going to change it up, give it a little bit of a facelift and a makeover. And I hope y'all like this project. After it dried, I ended up going back over it. Now here's where I'm going back over it, and I'm going to stipple it. And I'm going to go over the face too, so it has that same texture. I wanted this to look like something that was, you know, Roman or Italian, just like a really old fresco building look. A few weeks ago, I used this paint color on a project, and I didn't realize that for some reason I had erased the listing, so I didn't even have this paint listed on there, but it's up now under the raw silk. You can find all of these products on my website if you're interested in purchasing them. Wanted to add a little bit of dimension to this piece and a little bit of age, so I'm going to first go over it with some clear wax, and then I'm going to add just a little bit of dark wax or aging wax. This is actually Fusion's aging wax, which is the same as dark wax from DIY, a little bit different texture. Fusion wax is a little bit more buttery, or a lot more buttery, and then the DIY wax is a little bit harder of a wax, but they're both great waxes. And I'm just going to add some wax, take a little bit back with a paper towel, and just give it a little bit of dimension. If you're interested in watching more thrift flips, I have a whole bunch of garden thrift flips and all kinds of thrift flips. So there'll be a couple on the screen after this that you can choose from. So you can just pick one of those and binge watch some more of my videos. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and y'all don't forget to tell me which one of these is your favorite. Don't forget to give me a like, and I would love for you to leave me a comment. I love talking to you guys. I promise that I will get back to you if you leave me a comment. And if you haven't subscribed, don't forget to hit that subscription button.